Okay, welcome everybody. It's just 12 o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started. I'm Tim Dolan with the Inclusive Housing Coalition, and we're a Colorado nonprofit organization, and we are here to increase the access to accessible, affordable, and attainable housing for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And today is our quarterly webinar session. And today we have a great session on housing and services navigation. And with us today, I'm proud to say we have a couple of individuals that are going to give you some information, one from Bayaud Industries and one from Boulder County Human Services. So with that, I will go ahead and kick it over to Erica, who I think is going to go ahead and start her presentation. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Tim. My name is Erica Hostetler. I work for Bayaud Enterprises. I manage two programs, both of which I'll be discussing briefly today. Go ahead and try to share my screen. Okay. Can you all see PowerPoint
Yeah,
slides? Okay.
I think you just want to put it on slideshow mode, Erica, and you'll be good.
Great. Okay. So I'm going to talk today about Bayaud Enterprises Housing, Stability, and Community Counseling. PowerPoint slide with some red and white houses, and then the text is black. First program I'm going to talk about is our in-house mental health counseling program. There are two images on the screen of looks like someone receiving counseling and someone providing mental health counseling. Okay, so Bayaud Bridge is our in-house mental health counseling program. It is free mental health counseling for adults who reside in both the city and county of Denver. And we offer services in person at one of our Denver sites, as well as virtual by video or phone if video or in person is not an option. So as far as eligibility for this program, we're looking for someone that's a Denver resident, 18 and up, and uninsured or underinsured. That includes folks that have Medicaid. I know that's a common question that we receive. It is a grant-funded program, so we don't require that someone have insurance or provide proof of that or anything like that. So Bayaud Bridge is a short-term mental health counseling program. We start off by offering a consultation, which is just a brief meeting one-on-one between the mental health counselor and the client, where the provider kind of gets to know the client a little bit better, gets kind of an understanding of their strengths, their needs, what they're looking for in therapy. And then the goal by the end of that consultation is the therapist and the client decision together as to whether the program and the therapist are a good fit for the client, or they could benefit from other or additional resources. And if that's the case, then the therapist will provide support to the client to get connected to other resources in the community. Or if they do want to continue with therapy and it feels like it's a good fit, then they'll go ahead and get them scheduled for their first therapy session. So for folks to get started with this program, they can call our main bridge line. That's 303-248-7979. And they can call to make an appointment or to learn more. Any questions on that program before I dive into our housing piece? Okay.
You're okay to go, Erica. I think maybe we'll hold questions for the end.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So our housing program, Be Home, stands for Bayaud Enterprises Housing Options Mean Everything. We are primarily a navigation program, which means that all of folks in our program receive that navigation case management to either achieve housing or maintain housing of their choice. As far as eligibility for this program, we're looking for anyone that meets all three of these criteria: that they're a Denver resident, that they have a confirmed intellectual or developmental disability, or they are seeking an intellectual or developmental disability designation. They're experiencing any kind of housing insecurity, whether that's literal homelessness, at risk of losing their housing, they need different housing, or even they're seeking home ownership opportunities. Like one of the things I love most about this program is that we're able to serve folks with kind of any sort of housing status. They could be couch surfing, they could be already housed, or not. So there are many different definitions of IDD. For this program, we utilize the state definition. So to be eligible for this program, we're looking for folks that reside in the city and county of Denver, and anyone in the household has a disability that begins before age 22. Their disability typically includes difficulty with daily tasks and a cognitive or intellectual component to their disability. Some of the things we're looking for when we do our screening is maybe they've received special education, either currently or in the past. They might have a diagnosis that would include something like autism, cerebral palsy, Down syndrome, etc. And then we work specifically with Rocky Mountain Human Services to go through that IDD designation process if someone does not come to us already with that IDD designation. And for this program, we can serve folks. Someone that's going through that IDD designation process can receive, the same services and supports as someone that is referred to us already having that IDD designation. As far as the services go, so services are individualized and vary from person to person, but it's really a partnership between the client or family and the navigator. So with this program, if there's, say, a household, we can serve and support the entire household as long as one person has that suspected or confirmed IDD. We offer things like support with obtaining vital documents, assistance with public benefits such as food assistance, Medicaid, TANF, you name it, support with finding housing, connection to community resources. We also offer our mental health counseling program through this program as well as caregiver and family support. I think the thing I'm most proud of with this program is that our services are really tailored to each individual. So if someone needs assistance with an application, we can certainly support with that. And we also, in addition to the navigation services, we have limited funding where we can support with things like a first month's rent, security deposit, furniture, those kinds of things. So first step to for our Be Home program would be to do a phone screening with our intake team. And so in that phone screening, again, we're looking for three things. We're looking for someone that resides in the city and county of Denver. If they're experiencing homelessness, it's really about presenting in Denver. They have a confirmed or suspected intellectual and developmental disability, and then they're seeking housing related services. And then once that phone screening is complete, and if someone meets all three of those criteria, then they're going to go ahead and schedule an intake with our team. If they do not meet those 3 criteria, then our intake specialist will offer resources. So for Be Home, you can call our intake line, and that phone number is there, 720-979-2645, to learn more or to make a referral. Or you can email behome-idd@bayoudenterprises.org, and I believe Tim will be sending our referral form after this webinar.
Yes, I'd be happy to do that, Erica.
Wonderful. And also, just as far as the referral process goes, we're happy to take referrals from anywhere, be that a community partner or, someone themselves suspects that they have an IDD and they need that housing support. They're more than welcome to, complete a referral form or even just give us a call. We're happy to be creative and collaborative to make that referral happen, to get folks connected to services and support. I think another important piece on this program is that we do provide supportive services to folks even after they've achieved housing. So, and again, just like any other services, those are going to vary from person to person. A couple other services at Bayaud we offer our food pantry, as well as our shower and laundry truck. And those are open to the whole community, regardless of disability status or income. And then there's my direct contact information.
Excellent. Thank you, Erica. I think we could probably go ahead and take questions now. If anybody would like to offer up any questions, please just go ahead and raise your hand and I will take you off mute, and we'd love to hear your question. Not seeing any at the moment. So what we will do is leave it for now. We'll obviously have some time, I think, after the presentations to take questions. So at this point, Erica, if you want to go ahead and stop sharing, please, we can go ahead and ask Rebecca to go ahead and start her presentation.
Tim, it says that I can't come on camera.
Okay, let me go ahead and see what I can do here.
Thanks.
Go ahead and try it now, Rebecca.
Okay, just get my. No, it still says I can't. There we go. Okay.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I'm going to share my screen. Can you all see that?
Not yet, Rebecca.
Okay.
There we are.
Okay, great. Wonderful. So good afternoon. My name is Rebecca Seiden, and I am the IDD Mill Levy Program Coordinator with Boulder County Human Services. So I work as the program coordinator, and then I also am the staff liaison for the Boulder County Human Services IDD Advisory Council. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak on this very important aspect of neurodiverse housing. Housing is a fundamental need and a major challenge for our intellectual and developmental disability, autism, and brain injury community. I will be speaking to the development of housing navigation and stability supports in Boulder County through the IDD Mill Levy program. In 2002, Boulder County passed a ballot measure to support persons with IDD, autism, and brain injury who reside in Boulder County. On this slide, you will see the definition of the people that we serve. This ballot measure also supports persons with brain injury that results in a disability as an adult. The Boulder County Housing and Human Services contracted to complete an IDD needs assessment that was presented to the county in 2019. In that needs assessment, there were 8 areas of priority need.
I think she froze up.
Yeah, Rebecca, can you hear us? Well, let's see if we can get Rebecca back on the line here. Bear with us a moment. Okay. Imagine she will be signing back in here. There she is.
I am going to turn off my camera and see if that helps, by the way. So,
Okay. That sounds
All
like
right.
a good idea.
all right. Do you still see the presentation?
No, I think you have to reshare it.
Okay, let me try that again. Okay, there we go. So, let's see. So Boulder County contracted with Imagine, which is now A&I Avenues, this past spring to complete a telephone survey about housing needs in Boulder County. Imagine called all residents of Boulder County that are currently on Medicaid waivers. The waivers that were included were supported living services, developmental disabilities, brain injury, state SLS waivers, elderly, blind, and disabled waivers, and persons on children's waivers that were ages 16 and above. The purpose of the survey was to obtain more information regarding both client-specific statistics and opinion-based criterion on the subjects of personal housing goals and funding needs distribution in the areas of current and future habitation. This slide shows the distribution of the age of persons receiving services that are residents of Boulder County. Slide 5 shows the distribution of current living arrangements. As you can see, 73.87% of current residents of Boulder County live with parents, family, friends, and guardians. That is an alarming figure. The biggest concern that these statistics bring forward is the trend of transition for clients currently being cared for by aging parents. 38% of people in services are living with caregivers that are age 65 and older. There is concern from these caregivers about insufficient future support for their adult children requiring arrangements after caregiving passing. Most aging caregivers expressed concern for those clients that will be moved into the system of residential care. It was expressed that many of these senior caregivers lack knowledge about the process of obtaining ongoing services, and they expressed concern that there are not any incumbent resources to bridge the transitional gap for this subsample of clientele. Another area of crucial need that came out of this survey was the fact that in reviewing the Spanish language surveys, it was evident that many of this category have crucial housing needs that are falling through the cracks. There is a lack of understanding of service waivers, vouchers, and necessary funding for this subgroup. The language barrier makes it more difficult to communicate housing issues and emergent needs. So what is Boulder County proposing? Boulder County IDD Mill Levy Program has proposed 2 new positions to support housing navigation in Boulder County for neurodiverse residents. These positions have been proposed to be within the Boulder County Division of Housing. The first position is to assist community members in navigating the systems that are needed to obtain housing. This would include providing direct assistance in filling out applications and follow-up with housing authorities and landlords. This position would specifically be for finding needed person-centered housing for the individual. The second position would be to assist in providing stability and maintenance of housing. The residential support specialist would be there to help mitigate issues between landlords and our neighbors and linking the client to additional community resources that would provide continued stability of housing. This position would also be a link between agencies and persons that support the individual, such as residential PASAs. These 2 positions would provide a needed continuum of services to support the resident in not only finding appropriate, accessible housing, but maintaining stability and preventing homelessness. To address the concerns coming from our BIPOC community, these positions have been recommended to be bilingual positions. The final slide explains another position that has been instituted in Boulder County. In 2022, we awarded funding for an IDD Mill Levy Systems Navigator. This position specifically supports neurodiverse individuals negotiate the many cross systems that are required to access and receive needed services in Boulder County. Individuals and family members have expressed how difficult and confusing it is to enroll in the different systems that are needed for support. This position continues to make a difference in the rise of people being enrolled to Medicaid waivers, SNAP, long-term care, Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, and many other systems. In conclusion, Boulder County is committed to ensuring accessible and supportive housing options for neurodiverse individuals. We are continuing our work collaboratively with other agencies and stakeholders in addressing the barriers to housing. Our mission is clear. We aim to empower Boulder County residents living with IDD, autism, and brain injury, as well as their support networks. We strive to foster inclusivity and promote a compassionate community, one that truly values and celebrates the uniqueness of all its members as essential citizens and neighbors. And thank you for allowing me to share today.
Tim, you're muted.
There. I hope folks can hear me now.
Yes.
Great. Well, thanks very much, everybody. I think that was a great presentation. I think at this point, what we want to do is take questions from anybody that might have one. If you do, please just come off of mute and go ahead and ask.
Can I go ahead with the question?
Please.
So my daughter is currently on a CHIRP waiver, which I think is going to be converted to a DD waiver in the next year or so. I would imagine that that is qualification enough for this program.
Which program are you referring to?
Well, I guess, so we live in Denver County, so the Boulder one would not apply, but so the housing, she is currently 18, she's a senior in high school. I'm guessing she's probably going to be living with me for a couple more years, but how soon do I need to start looking at what the options might be for her? for housing.
Eric, I think that one might be addressed to you.
Yeah. So it's just based on what you shared. It sounds like your daughter maybe already has an IDD designation.
I would imagine that if she qualifies for the DD waiver, that
yeah,
would
so
be enough. Okay.
And so I think that's up to you. I think one of the things I should have mentioned in my presentation is that we are a pilot program. And so I think that, as far as thinking, into the future for your daughter, I think that's one thing certainly to be aware of when thinking about the Be Home program specifically. But I think it's certainly, never too early to start thinking about what some of those options might be and kind of what her goals are, what your goals are, and those kind of things. I would really, it sounds like, you're potentially working with RMHS already, since sounds like she's already enrolled in waivers. Would encourage you, to be in contact with her case managers. You can certainly request options counseling through them as well, in terms of that transition from childhood to adulthood.
Can I just ask a follow-up question? The ideal scenario that I am imagining is for her to be living in a community where maybe it's, elderly folks, but also people with IDD, that can kind of help support each other with on-site services. Does such a thing exist?
I could probably take that one. So the answer is yes, and that is a big part of what the Inclusive Housing Coalition and other folks in the community, our coalition folks, are seeking to do, which is to increase housing for folks with intellectual and developmental disabilities in a neuro-inclusive, cognitively accessible kind of way. So that not being the subject of today's particular webinar, I would invite you to go ahead. My contact information is there. Please feel free to reach out to me on our website. There's a contact form. You have my email address there. Please go ahead and check that out, and I can point you in the right direction for some information and resources. We have a summit actually coming up in Boulder County next month. So there is a lot of information which would actually be a lot to cover right now, but certainly I can definitely point you in the right direction for some information.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Tim, could I just add, I just wanted
Yes.
to add, I think it's Andrea that was on. I don't think it's ever too early to work on residential, because perhaps there's things that could be placed in your daughter's plan now so that she could be starting to work on skill training towards independent residents. So I would just kind of back Erica that I think there's a lot of skills that they need prior to being able to live independently. So start taking a look at that now and putting it in our plan.
That is very good advice. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, if anybody else has a question or comment, please feel free to come off mute and jump in.
Hi, this is Cindy Stevens. Do either of you, Erica or Rebecca, have any suggestions for those of us that live in a different catchment area, like Douglas County, Arapahoe County, with developmental pathways, to begin the conversation to those that control the $18 to $20 million per year of the waiver that's collected in our counties? How did you kind of get started with these programs? Because they're wonderful to be replicated statewide, but every county is different, and some counties don't even have mill levy. Thank you.
Well, I can take it from my part. I've been with the county now for 5 years. So with that needs assessment that was done by the county, they did recommend my position, and they also recommended an IDD advisory council. So I work monthly with our IDD advisory council, and they really research and they talk about further investments into the community. Housing, of course, is a major concern for most everybody that's on my IDD advisory council. So we regularly talk about things that are needed within the system. Douglas County has a mill levy, don't they?
I think that's true.
Yes, they do.
They
Okay.
do, but the case management organization controls 95% of it.
Mm.
Only 5% is controlled by the county and the IDD council.
So you don't have, so do you not have an advisory council then?
There's one that doles out about $350,000 of grants per
I see.
year. But
Okay.
the 20 million bucks is doled out by developmental pathways under their priorities. That's my understanding.
Well, I'm all about advocacy, so, you know, it may be time for maybe you to get together with your county ARC, et cetera, to start looking at some of those priorities as far as funding. I mean, I can't give you specific suggestions because it obviously works very different than Boulder County. But I think that the more pressure that parents put on our counties to develop, I think that's best.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Cindy. Okay.
Hi, yeah, I had a question. So we are a PASA that serves Boulder County, and we have been trying to help one of our clients find housing for a while now. And we as the PASA are having a lot of trouble navigating kind of working with the current landlord and trying to figure out where our role is. So I think a lot of this program sounds like it would really help both us and my client. So can you kind of remind me, like, how would we get the client involved in these services, or even help ourselves kind of get involved to better help navigate this stuff with her?
Eventually, I mean, we are just starting this. It's been in the works and we're concentrating. I'm hoping that we'll have these 2 positions in place next year.
Right.
The idea is that there might be a housing panel that goes with these 2 positions to help support it. I think that where it's going to be based is actually through our housing helpline.
Okay.
Right now, you may want to call the Boulder County Housing Helpline
Okay.
and indicate that you are having issues. A lot of times they will reach out to me if it's an IDD specific situation, and it might be something that perhaps I might be able to help you navigate.
Okay.
So please feel free to reach out. We're also always looking for PASA involvement because we want to get your input into how things are working and what you guys also feel is further needed in Boulder County to provide that stabilization. I think it's really important for Boulder County to work with the residential PASAs in order to create more stabilization and prevent the homelessness.
Totally. I think a lot of what you guys are aiming to do too is it hits like all of the things that if someone came up to me today and asked as a PASA, what do you struggle with? So I think
Exactly.
you guys are definitely on the right page, and I like hearing that. So thank you. That helps a lot.
Thank you.
Okay. Great discussion. The floor is open. So if anybody has a question or comment, please come off. Please identify yourself. That would be great.
Actually, Tim, I wanted to ask Erica, how is your laundry on your shower truck funded? I think it's wonderful.
I actually would have to get back to you on that. I know it's changed a couple of times.
Okay, thank you.
But yeah.
Okay. Well, not hearing any other questions, I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen and thank everybody for your participation today. Erica and Rebecca especially, and thanks for the good discussion. I think we had a lot of good information here in a fairly short period of time. The information was shared, so please feel free to reach out to any of us with any questions or comments. And with that, please have a great day.
Thank